I could tell you stories, but I don't think you'd want to hear them. I'm not sure you'd want to hear them. I could tell you about the first martinis I ever had, which I had because I thought I was coming down with something. The bartender asked me what I wanted, and I told her I was coming down with something. At least I thought I was coming down with something. I had that feeling of your brain coming loose, of your head getting stuffed, and not a scratchy throat, but that feeling you get in your throat before it starts to hurt. It starts to feel thick. I probably shouldn't have been there. If I felt the way I was starting to feel, I probably should have just stayed home and watched TV. But I didn't want to stay home, so I put myself together and took myself out. Parked behind the bar, walked myself in, and said, "Give me something soothing. Give me something to drink that I've never drank before." And the bartender, she's not there anymore, but she was there that night. I don't know where she is now. I don't know where any of them are anymore. She smiled and she said, "Turn away," and she made me this drink. And while she's making the drink, I look around and there's nobody there to be seen, nobody worth mentioning. This is a waste. I'm getting a cold, and this is a total waste of time and effort. Then the bartender puts a glass in front of me, a martini glass. I've seen martinis, but this doesn't look like the martinis I've seen. This martini is green. It's transparent and green, and it's beautiful. It's a martini, and it's beautiful, with a red cherry in it, and it's like a green prism or something. I asked her, "What is this?" She tells me, "It's a sour apple martini." And she tells me it goes down really smooth, very soothing. So I pick it up by the stem and I lift the glass, and it's filled right to the brim. So I sort of lean down to meet it halfway, and I take my first sip, and I've never tasted anything so cold before. I've done vodka shooters from the freezer, but those are shooters. You drink them right down. You don't even have time to consider them. But this thing, you sip and you taste the cold, and then the sweet, and then the sour, and it slides down your throat, and you feel how clean it tastes. The fact of what it is, the fact of what's going to happen to you when the alcohol gets to where it's going, it's really secondary to the experience of the thing, really. Everybody drinks for the same reason, but for the first time I had this really thrilling experience while I'm waiting for the liquor to catch up with me, which is probably why I drank the first one as fast as I did. The bartender says, "You like that?" And I said, "I most certainly did like that." "How long has this been going on?" "Oh, a long time," she says to me. And then I hear this voice behind me. "That's a song. Did you know that was a song?" Did I know what was a song? I'm looking at him now. He's next to me at the bar. And he's older than I like, older. Like a local newsman, the sort of anchor guy you see doing the local news when you're stuck in a motel or an airport or something. Wavy white hair, open shirt, little curly white chest hairs peeking over the top button, a golfer. "How long has this been going on?" "That's a song, an old song from way before your time." "Did you know that?" "No, I didn't." "Well, it is." "Well, I'll take your word for it." Like I said, there was no one of any significance in that bar at this time, or else I wouldn't have been having this conversation with this old guy. And the bartender brings me a second martini, and the old man says he's buying me the next one. I smile at him. Nothing backing it up, you understand, just a bar smile. Just a garden variety, lifting your glass and giving him the up from under look and smiling before you drink smile. Makes him feel good, doesn't cost you anything. He's grateful for the smile. He may be thinking about something else, but he's grateful for the smile. Sometimes men just make me want to cry. It's a nice, warm, cold, tingly high you get from this martini. It's one of those drinks you feel in your fingers first, and the tips of your fingers. He's telling me about the old songs, and I'm nodding. I'm not really interested in what he's saying to me. I'm listening to the martini like icy candy, these things. Like icy candy made out of clear, clear ice. Clear like an emerald or something. He puts money in the jukebox. This place is a jukebox. An actual jukebox with colored liquid bubbling through tubes all over it. A jukebox. Not a DJ. I hate DJs. They think it's their music. Like they made it when all they're doing is playing it. He puts money in the jukebox and orders another martini for me, and then he has my hand, and I'm floating off the bar stool, and he takes me out to this space in front of the jukebox that's playing Perry Como or Frank Sinatra or something like that. Somebody singing something about something. The old man puts his arm around me, and we're dancing, touching and dancing, and he's dancing, and I'm holding on, and it's very interesting. He holds me, and I can smell this spicy aftershave, this almost Christmassy smell of spices and things. There's so many reasons I'm glad there's nobody there. I knew that night, except for the bartender, and she's not there anymore. None of them are. There's another martini, possibly two, but I couldn't swear. He says we could go, which is not a question. It's more of an idea, not even a suggestion. He's just saying something that might happen. We could go. It's a possibility. You don't really appreciate the beauty of Ventura Boulevard at night until you drive down it Trunk. It just sparkles. The light on the stores, the light of the cars, people walking on the streets, going in and out of places, getting in and out of their cars. They look different. They look brighter. You're just so happy to see them going out places. How could they not be happy, being on Ventura Boulevard with you driving by them with icy green martini juice flowing through your heart and arteries and things? I followed his taillights. He had a big car. Not a truck, a car. Not new, but not old, but big. And we turned on Kester, or the Glen, or one of those streets, and started drifting up into the hills. We stayed on the side of Mulholland, I knew that for sure. We absolutely did not cross Mulholland. But we were up there. Then we went down into a little canyon or something, down to the bottom of this road, and his house was at the bottom, the last house. He helped me out of the car, which was probably a good thing. Then he said, you go first, I want to watch you walk. So I was ahead of him, looking down most of the time, trying to keep an eye on my feet. On the walk, which was made out of these little blobs, these little islands of cement. He's back there watching my ass, which he's entitled to do under the circumstances. And I'm thinking he's going to see a lot more of this. If I trip on these rocks, he's going to see me go flat on my face. Anyway, we get to the door, and he starts to unlock it, and they're scratching on the other side of the door. He gets it open, the door, and I see this dog, this old dog. So old I can't even tell what kind of a dog it used to be. He says, hello, Charlie, and he scratches the dog's head, and he tells me to step inside. At first, I don't notice it. Then I figured it was the martinis, but I take a really good look as I'm going up the stairs. I'm holding on to the banister on the way up to the bedroom, which he said had this view I'd like, and if that's what he wants to tell me, it doesn't bother me. Frankly, I wasn't bothered by anything. I was having a genuinely wonderful time just being there, going up those stairs. When I look at the dog who's going up those stairs and leading me up, and wait a minute, it's not right. But that's what I saw. The dog had 3 legs. He was a 3-legged dog. The dog was missing a leg, a front leg. The dog is hopping along on 3 legs. The view's okay, but it's nothing you haven't seen before. Looking at the valley, looking at the lights, like lights all spread out in nice rows on a big black table. It's interesting the first time you see it, but this wasn't the first time I saw it. Door slides open, and there's a deck and a hot tub. And I'm thinking the hot tub might be nice, but then I see it doesn't have any water in it. Why would you have a hot tub and no water in it? And he's in the bedroom lighting the gas fireplace, and I just can't get it up for a gas fireplace. I mean, I think it's as romantic as a stove. It's like watching a stove with those things. And that's the only light in the room, that shaky orange light from the fireplace. One of the best things about being drunk is how it lowers your expectations. When you're drunk, you really can't be disappointed. You're less judgmental about yourself and the other person. You overlook flaws that might have stopped you if you hadn't had a couple of nice cocktails. You start making out on the floor with somebody really old, and it just seems natural. The thing about being drunk is that it brings all the pleasure in you closer to the surface, and everything's all right, and you don't worry where your shoes landed. The old man, his name is Carl. I don't know when he told me his name, but he did, and his name was Carl. I'm certain about that. Carl lets go of me, and he gets up from the floor, and he moves out of my area of immediate focus, and I hear a door, a bathroom door. Okay, I figure I'll get undressed, get in bed under the sheets. But it turns out I am undressed, and I can see my stuff on the chair between the fireplace and the door to the empty hot tub. I can see both shoes, which always makes me feel anchored. And there's something in front of the fire. Ah, it's a three-legged dog, the dog with 3 legs. It's a medium kind of dog. He looks like a dog, not a rat. Not one of those little pugs with smushed-in faces. An old dog like you see in old movies about farms. Black and white and only 3 legs. He's looking at me, and I say, "Hello, boy." He lifts his head, and then he puts it down again, and then he sighs. His body sort of inflates for a second, and then he lets out this breath, and it puffs out his lips along the side of his wolfy mouth, and he sighs. Like he's seen it all. Maybe he has. Carl comes back from the bathroom then, and we get up on the bed, and it's really not all that bad. The thing about guys in their 40s and 50s is they don't have to prove anything to me. They're off the hook. I mean, I wouldn't want a steady diet of them. That would be abnormal. But, when you've had enough to drink and he knows what he's doing, what the hell, really? I was really enjoying myself. And we're moving along, almost ready for the next plateau, as it were, when I asked him about the dog. The old dog with the 3 legs. I asked him how the dog lost the leg. Was it an accident? Was it an old farm dog and it got caught in a machine or something? Carl is moving on top of me like a big shadow, and I can see the orange light melting up in the ceiling, and he says, "No, it wasn't an accident. The dog lost his leg to cancer." And I don't know. I felt the shiver go all through me. Not something on the outside, it was all on the inside. The dog by the fire had cancer? They had to cut off his leg because of cancer? You get what I'm saying? The dog was a dog with cancer. Things went on from there, and I could feel what was happening. It was all pretty good, but all I kept thinking about was that dog. What does a dog know about having cancer? How do you explain that to a dog? I mean, a person understands when something like that happens. You can explain it to them. They may get mad and yell at you, but you know what they're mad about. While they're yelling at you, you can stay and take it, or you can walk away, but you know why they're yelling. But a dog's just going to be scared. A dog's going to be really afraid. Maybe a dog's going to wonder what he did, that his master would do these things to him, give him drugs and cut him up. He's got nothing but terror and shame, and that's awful. It's not fair. It's not right. And that's what I was thinking the whole time Carl was on top of me. I was thinking of this 3-legged dog in front of the fire. He didn't look scared, the dog. He was old and he was tired, and he'd been through all he'd been through without even knowing what was happening to him and why it was happening to him. And he ends up in front of a fireplace and he sighs. He takes a deep breath every now and then, and he holds it in, and then he just lets it go and makes a sound. It sounds all right. That sounds like this is how things are, and it doesn't hurt too bad right now. And once I had 4 legs, and now I've got 3. Doesn't make any sense, but that's just the way it worked out. How do you sigh when you've had a leg cut off? Things run their course. I think I got off somewhere in there. I know Carl did. I held on to him a long time after that. I was holding on, but I couldn't stop thinking about the dog. I held on till I got the feeling I was holding on too long, and Carl, it could have been Mike, one of those names, slid off of me, and I just waited what I thought was a polite length of time and got off the bed. He said something about staying, and for all I know, he could have meant it, but I told him that I wanted to go, and he said, okay. The dog watched me put my clothes on, looked at me, like, where are you going in such a big hurry? The martinis were fading. I wasn't really drunk anymore, but that doesn't mean I was sober. I was in that stretchy place between drunk and sober, where you can feel the hangover starting behind your eyes and across your nose, and there's nothing you can do about it except get someplace where you can sweat it out and be sick with a little privacy. I wanted to tell him I was sorry, the dog, about his leg, but that was crazy. I didn't give the dog cancer. I didn't take away his leg and make him old. If I was a dog and somebody did that to me, I'd just start biting everything in sight, bite down hard and shake whatever it was till I tasted blood and the thing in my mouth stopped moving. I think that's what most people would have done under the circumstances. I wanted to pet him, but I was afraid to pet him, so I didn't. I walked around him and down the stairs behind Carl or Mark, and out to my car where we kissed some more, which might have been the nicest part of that part of things. Then I got in my car and went up the road and then down the hill. I figured if I kept going downhill, I'd get to Ventura Boulevard eventually, which I did. It was Kester or the Glen or one of those, and I drove home, careful, taking my time. I thought I'd lost my house keys. I thought, what if they fell out by the fireplace? I'll never find that house again. But the keys were at the bottom of my bag. I went in my apartment. I didn't turn on any lights. Just felt my way to the bedroom and lay down on the bed, pulled the bedspread around me, and held on while the room started to rotate around me, never actually making a full turn. I can understand why God would do something like that to a person. Just don't see what he gets out of doing that to a dog. Well, those are the kind of stories I could tell you, but I'm not going to, because you wouldn't want to hear them.